Hi friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com again. My business entity is Tarot Clarity LLC, and I'm not positive, but I think this is probably the last video in the playlist titled Publishers Who Create Historic Tarot Decks, or Historic Publishers of Tarot. I think I've exhausted the decks that I have, and this last video is focused on Fournier. They're a Spanish publishing house, and I only have 3 decks of theirs that happen to be what I might consider historically significant decks, or, reference historic tarot decks. I do know that there are, I think, 2 other historic decks that Fournier has out. One is called Tarot Numerologico, which I don't own, but I'll probably rectify that soon if you know me. And there's a Tarot Genovese, which I don't know if it's out of print or if it still exists or not. It's similar to the Soprafino Tarot, except that it's double-ended. But these are the 3 historic tarot decks that I have. Now let's start with the El Gran Esoterico. It's not necessarily that it's a historic tarot deck. It's not an ancient deck, but it has, I think, historic significance in, tarot, the tarot world. Plus, it's a gorgeous deck. It's quite unlike many decks. And you can see that it has an occultist agenda, astrological too, nods to Kabbalah. And none of that interests me, but I still use the deck because I don't need those things to interpret the deck, but they are of interest to people who use that, method of reading. I like it because it's just gorgeous. I just think it's a beautiful deck. Fournier cards are quality. I like them a lot. They're not high gloss, but there's a sheen, and they're very flexible. One of my workhorse decks is the Spanish Tarot. It's written in Spanish, I think also in English. Notes to my kids. God forbid if I pass on, I just want them to know certain things about certain decks. This deck I've used hundreds, if not thousands of times, for hours at a time. Sometimes if I was in a situation where I just had back-to-back readings, in my younger days, I did that. And at any rate, look at it, it's held up. It's almost a pristine deck. There's nothing bad about it. It hasn't shown any real signs of wear and tear. I admit that I take meticulous care of my cards. I wash my hands before touching them. I make everyone else wash their hands. So I'm kind of maniacal about clean hands in tarot. Never have food or drink ever in my tarot parlor. But still the same. I've had this deck for a long, long time, and it's done many, 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 many hundreds of readings. And it's in good, what I would consider practically like new condition. So Fournier does create a quality deck. It's, I guess a kind of like hodgepodge kind of TDM. I don't know that it focuses or is particularly reminiscent of any particular TDM, but it's their version of TDM. Yeah, it's in English and Spanish. And I like it. I like the colors. They're different. And I like the quality. It just feels good. I like using this deck. And then another deck that I have by Fournier is just simply called the Tarot of Marseille. And it's like interesting colors to this particular deck that they have. all the Fournier decks that I've shown have a booklet. I was remiss in showing you that. There's a booklet for all of them. In multiple languages. And again, the same Fournier quality. I think when even though they're mass-produced cards, I think when you hear the name Fournier, you can equate it with quality mass-produced cards. And, it's a little different than what we're used to seeing for TDM with the colors. I don't use this deck as much as I use the Spanish tarot, but I did at one time. I used it a lot, and I like it. So Fournier is a mass-produced publisher. They have lots of tarot decks. The ones that I've mentioned and the ones that I've shown today are the ones that I'm aware of that have historic relevance. And certainly, if you're looking for affordable, if you're looking to begin a historic tarot collection or just buy an ancient type of deck, this might not be a bad place to start as far as mass-produced decks go that are affordable and quality, that'll last you for a long time. I think this video wraps up my playlist for historic publishers of tarot decks. Certainly, if I think of others or come across others, I will add it to the list. But I think this concludes the playlist for now. Until next time, friends, I hope you've enjoyed this playlist. Go peruse the rest of my playlists on YouTube. I have a numerology playlist, and I am now beginning a new playlist called What is Tarot and How Does It Work? And I have great ideas for it, so go check that out too. Until next time, stay well and peace.